Welcome back to the final part. Woohoo! This is part 8 and the final part of this hyperrealism drawing series. Can't believe it's actually done. This is about a 54-hour drawing, so I'm pretty happy it's all finished up. It took way longer than I thought. I was thinking maybe 40 hours to do the whole thing, but it's over 50, so I'm glad it's done, and I'm glad I get to share the last bit of it with you guys. In a few days, I'm probably going to release the full time lapse of the whole thing, so that'll be start to finish in a quicker time lapse fashion, and so you'll get to see it in a 10-minute video, the whole thing, instead of over 3 hours of footage. So stay tuned and you'll get to see that. And I also wanted to just thank all of you who stuck around from start to finish. I know these kind of start to get repetitive, but I had a lot of people want these long format videos where you can see the real-time drawing and see real-time what I'm doing. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. For those of you who stayed around and watched the videos, hopefully you found it helpful and found it interesting. But I think after I get this one all done, I have to do some framing for it, and when I have all of that finished, I was thinking about doing more of a beginner tutorial series as well. So starting with fruit or flowers and stuff like that, and making them pretty short, concise, informational videos. So let me know if you guys think that would be useful and if you guys would enjoy watching that as well. I know overall there's a lot of repetition in these videos. I can only give so much, different detail about what I'm doing for so long, especially with over 3 hours or so of drawing video. But I hope what I did say throughout the videos you guys did find useful. I did have another question that somebody asked about what I do after the drawing is done, how I prevent anything from smudging, what fixative I use and stuff like that. To be honest, I don't use fixatives anymore. I had some bad experiences in the past with fixatives. I find fixatives work for the most part when you do graphite. I find it doesn't change the look of it too much, but I tried it on 2 separate charcoal drawings in the past, and they completely ruined them. I followed the instructions on the can and made sure I did it the right distance away, and I didn't oversaturate it or anything like that, but I found it changed the depth of the blacks. So it went from like a deep, rich black that charcoal is known for to being more of like a dark gray. And it completely changed the look, and it made things a little bit uneven. So I don't use fixatives at all anymore. When I finish my picture, I just make sure I can frame it right away, or while I'm storing it, it's stored in a safe place that I know it's not going to get damaged or smudged or touched by anything. I know that it's safe. I can then frame it, and then once it's framed, it's not going to get moved around or anything like that. It's safe at that point. So I know a lot of people do use fixatives, especially with graphite, but for me, I've had a lot more success just preserving my stuff the way I do it now, getting it framed right away, over the last 5 years versus risking it with the fixatives a couple times. So yeah, that's what I do now. I just find it safer for me. I know I can get away with it not getting touched or damaged. I can put it away safe until it's framed. So I think you can use a fixative at your own risk. For me, it's not worth it for my stuff, but you guys might have a different experience, but that's just my 2 cents on it. And then I did have another question about just something I covered in one of my older videos of how do I not get fingerprints or smudge anything. I just make sure that I'm not touching the paper with my fingers, for one, and then I use a piece of parchment paper that I tape to my hand, and that prevents most of the smudging. It'll still smudge, but it prevents the paper from getting of your hand oils, and it definitely helps a lot. So if you're going to be doing, especially with charcoal, use a piece of paper or parchment paper or something just to cover your hand, just so you're not smudging and getting your hand oils on the paper. And that's it for the questions. Well, I did actually have a question. I don't know if anybody knows or has had the same sort of experience, but I've noticed for myself over especially the last year on Instagram. I know Instagram, you're supposed to post more often and do reels and stuff like that, but even with that, even though I post more over the last month or 2 months than I did, over a year ago, when I did post over a year ago, I got way more engagement than I do now, even though I post more now. And I'm not too sure why that is. I don't know. I've heard a lot of people say the same thing, that their engagement has dropped quite a bit. For myself, it's dropped probably about 75% over the last year. And even though I post just as much now, or even more right now than I did over a year ago when I was doing my other pieces. So I'm not too sure why that is, or if anybody else has had experience with that, or if anybody else has some ideas of what to do with that. But I do find it kind of weird. I don't know if the algorithm is more like TikTok focused, where it's just short, very eye-catching stuff. I don't know. But it was never a problem before, but it seems to be more of a problem for myself now over the last year. But if anybody has any ideas, feel free to put them in the comments. That it would be a great help. Thanks. Anyway, I thought I would kind of go over the materials I used for this drawing. Paper. Starting with paper, I used a picture frame mat board. So the paper that you use for mats for picture frames. That's what I used for my paper for this one. It's 100% cotton, acid free. In terms of pencils, I used Wolf carbon pencils, B, 2B, and 4B. I also used my Fabercastel Pitt charcoal pencils, so that I used as well medium, soft, and hard. I also used the Fabercastel charcoal block, the Tombow mono eraser, Derwent electric eraser, a variety of soft paintbrushes from flat to round. I used a kneaded eraser, and let me think, some Q-tips as well. Honestly, I feel like that's something that I really like about drawing, is that it doesn't require that much material, and it doesn't have to be all that expensive. All in just my pencils and paper and all of my tools, they're under $100 all in. So it doesn't cost you too much to get started to be able to create, pretty cool artwork, versus something like oil painting. It's a little bit more expensive to start with. Just buying a big canvas can be easily be $50 to $100. So yeah, I just find it has an easy entry, and you can learn a lot from it early on. Especially for me, when I started back in high school, so I didn't have a ton of money to spend on a lot of expensive art material. It was just a sketchbook and a few different pencils, different hardness of graphite pencils, and a kneaded eraser. And that I was able to get a pretty good foundation over a couple of years before I started to try my hand at a lot bigger, more detailed, more difficult stuff. Honestly, I feel like I should do a video on my old pictures back from high school to the stuff I do now. It was quite the difference. So, everybody starts out at a pretty base level, and if you just keep at it, you can make a lot of improvements. But maybe I'll do a video on that from where I was in high school until now. Anyway, I don't know much of what else to say. I just wanted to thank you all for staying with me and supporting these videos. It's a big help. And if you guys have any questions, yeah, definitely put them in the comments, and I'll give them an answer. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. I'll definitely do another one like this in the future. It's a lot of work, editing, all of these videos, editing down like 5 hours of footage into each one of these videos. But it was good. I enjoyed it, and I really like seeing all of the process happen. So hopefully you guys all liked it too, and stay tuned for the final piece coming up in a few days. So thank you all for watching again, and see you next time. Bye.